Nigeria. It's Friday, the 5th of June, 2026. Welcome to the conversation here on Lagos Television. I am Abimbola Bello.
Good morning and welcome. I am Joy Olu.
Joy, what's wrong with you today?
I'm feeling sleepy.
He's
I don't know.
a girl.
It's obvious, huh?
I'm wondering what's going on
Like I'm
with
trying
Joy
to
this
keep my
morning.
eyes open.
Okay, don't worry. Joy will not sleep on you. Will not sleep on the viewers today. Try as much as possible to make her talk so that she'll remain awake. Okay, it's Friday, and of course, you know how we do it on Fridays. We try as much as possible to help you start your weekend on a delightful note. That we intend to do on the program today. But first, let's start with our news point. This morning, I will start on this side, and of course, this one is coming from the House of Representatives, where sometimes you just ask yourself, when are we going to get out of situations like this? Forgery, blackmail allegations rock reps over minority leadership. Tempers flared in the House of Representatives on Thursday as a fierce disagreement erupted. Fierce disagreement over the leadership of the opposition caucus degenerated into a rowdy session with lawmakers trading accusations of forgery, blackmail, and political manipulation on the floor of the chamber. A heated exchange, which disrupted plenary, was triggered by complaints from Philip Agbese, Ado Okpoko Ogadibo Federal Constituency of Benue State, who accused fellow lawmaker Ikenga Ugochinyere of Idiato North, Idiato South, Imo State of forging his signature to endorse a nomination for the position of minority leader. Ugochinyere, however, dismissed the allegation as false, insisting the endorsement process was legitimate and duly signed by supporting lawmakers. The confrontation quickly escalated into a shouting match between rival camps within the opposition bloc. A video later released by members of the G60 caucus further intensified the controversy, as it reportedly showed Agbese signing the nomination document contrary to his claim on the floor of the House. The drama began during plenary when Agbese raised a matter of personal privilege, accusing Ugochinyere of using his signature without authorization in a document purportedly nominating him for the office of minority leader. Agbese told the House he was stunned to discover a nomination document circulating online bearing his name and signature in support of Ugochinyere aspiration. According to him, although he had engaged in discussions with several lawmakers, including Ugochinyere, on issues affecting minority lawmakers and constituency projects, he never signed any document endorsing the Imo lawmaker. He urged the House leadership to investigate the matter and hold what he described as sustained attempts by Ugochinyere and his associates to damage his reputation. The Benue lawmaker also rejected reports circulating on social media alleging that some lawmakers received $50,000 to support a candidate in the minority leadership contest. Respondent Speaker Tajuddin Abbas acknowledged the complaint and assured Agbese that the allegations would be examined. The Speaker the Speaker, however, appealed to members not to prolong the dispute on the floor, revealing that he had convened a closed-door meeting of minority lawmakers for later in the day to address the leadership crisis. I'll leave it at that. That really explains, the thrust of that story, where there was a shouting match at the House of Representatives yesterday. For those who've been following, of course, Agbese had to step down from his position as minority leader because he left the party he was in, moved to another party, which instantly put him at a disadvantage, which meant that he could no longer hold that position. So my worry is, now that you're no longer in a particular position, why is it a problem that, the next person occupying that position, and according to reports anyways, Ugochinyere had secured the larger vote of, other lawmakers who wanted him to be the minority leader. So if you agreed that you had meetings with those people, you agreed that you were actually in a meeting, why is, why are you now making the allegations that your signature was forged? And at the end of the day, a video later came out to confirm. Or was it that you didn't know what you were signing? Or were you cajoled into signing, something else? Meanwhile, it was for another purpose. And you see, until we stop these issues where we cannot trust ourselves, we'll continue to have things like this. So why was it recorded? Did they think that something like this was going to happen? Was that recording with his consent? Because again, things like this, if the lawmakers cannot agree, how can they agree on our behalf?
Exactly what I wanted to say now. This energy they are using, I expect it to be channeled into doing things to better the people they are there to represent.
I don't understand.
Because they are not there for your own personal gain.
Yeah, you're representing people.
Representing
and you
people.
should be
The
legislating.
Business, if they were arguing on the things or projects that they want to do for the people, that's okay. That's fine. They're arguing on...
Anyway, we hope that it will be resolved as soon as possible so that the business of lawmaking, can actually continue at the House of Representatives. Let's take your first story, Joy.
Okay, 2027, INEC voids primaries held after May 30. The Independent National Electoral Commission has warned political parties that any primary election conducted outside the Commission's May 30 deadline remains invalid unless a higher court overturns an earlier Federal High Court judgment on that matter. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Kudu Haruna, made the disclosure. He advised that political parties would have to continue to comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2026 pending the determination of the Commission's appeal before the Court of Appeal. He stated, and I quote, "Obviously, for now, any primary held outside INEC's May 30 deadline will be invalid unless the Court of Appeal overturns the Federal High Court judgment in INEC's appeal against the ruling that the timetable breached the Electoral Act 2026 in some of its provisions." In other words, for now, the political parties are better advised to be guided by the existing act. The INEC Commissioner's position follows the ongoing legal dispute over the Commission's timetable for party primaries and candidate nominations ahead of the 2027 general elections. And if you read the story, it takes us down, the case is in court and all that. But again, if we have not heard the last of this case, as he already advised the political parties, it is better you just align with the laws provided until the court says otherwise.
No matter what the court says here, INEC also has, their own guidelines guiding the conduct of the next elections. And they gave a timetable way before now. And I like the fact that they're reiterating this. Again, there are some times that in Nigeria, we just assume that you can do certain things and just get away with this thing. So INEC is reiterating here, any primaries held after May 30 will not be recognized, except, of course, if the court says otherwise. Again, because their own case is also in court. So if a ruling is given before the next election and then the court also compels INEC to, to accept or validate whatever comes after May 30, then of course INEC would have no choice but to, go by what the court has ruled. But as it stands, the rules are clear. INEC had a timetable, they had a guideline, and anybody that, will come short of the rules and regulations, no elections for you. I mean, no validation for the conduct of your primaries. And I think, if we start going by the rules, I think people will start getting it into their heads that you must follow.
Oh, yeah, there should be procedures that must be followed.
Yeah, procedures must be followed.
I mean, you can't hold INEC.
INEC has not done anything.
If a party doesn't put themselves together, it's not INEC's.
Absolutely. Let's take the next story this morning. It is about the Oyo attack, where Atiku's aide is asking the DSS to invite Sunday Igboho for interrogation. And the story says, media advisor to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Paul Ibe, has called on the Department of State Services DSS and other security agencies to invite Yoruba Nation campaigner Sunday Igboho for questioning over his claims that he knows politicians sponsoring kidnappers in the southwest. Ibe made the call on Thursday in a post on X, arguing that security agencies should take advantage of any credible information that could help rescue abducted school children and teachers in Oyo State. His intervention followed remarks by Igboho during a meeting with members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, where he claimed to know politicians allegedly backing kidnappers operating in parts of the region. Reacting to the allegation, Ibe urged security agencies to engage the activist and obtain the information he claimed he possesses. Ibe also questions the federal government's response to the reported abduction of more than 50 school children in Musa, Borno State on May 15, 2026. During comparisons with the official response to the abductions in Oyo State, Ibe asked, and I quote, "By the way, who knows those behind the abduction of over 50 school children in Musa, Borno State on May 15, 2026? Why is Tinubu and his government mute over the Borno abduction? Are those school children not Nigerians? When will the Commander-in-Chief and Consular-in-Chief send a delegation to Musa like it did in the case of Orire?" End of quote. I'll leave it at that. And, of course, two ways this can be interpreted. If you if you look you know, an angle will be, okay, if Sunday Igboho claims to know those behind this, it might be just, and you know, I remember that, you know, when he said what he said, give me time, I will name the sweepers. So if he has any credible information that can actually help security officials to do their job, he can share. But again, sometimes, again, like I always say, our politicians also need to reach the temperature of the room and also be very sensitive when reacting to certain things. I'm not sure that any child is bigger than another child. Drawing comparisons when it comes to things like this are also, I don't think they are fair.
They're not.
So if there are no credible information, if you cannot trace particular things, you also have to be sure before you make a comment about it. So, you know, talking about what happened in Borno, which again, I'm not sure has been duly verified that it actually happened. We just need to be cautious, especially now that the country is on a high note when it comes to sensitivity or insensitivity of comments. We need to refrain from things that are able to throw you know, the country into disarray. Our politicians need to just tone it down and allow for peace to reign rather than igniting the fires where ordinarily there shouldn't be any.
Exactly. Again, and so if anybody should make a comment, it should not be on the part of trying to paint a particular person bad or paint the government of the day bad. Because of the sensitivity of what we are passing through as a nation, whoever who's going to make a comment, if your word should be seasoned with grace.
Yeah.
Your word should bring hope. Because again, there are people, parents who are crying, who cannot sleep, who do not know the conditions of their children at the moment. And so statements like this and trying to compare again, I mean, everyone is important.
Absolutely. Let's take a story, Joy.
Again, late WAEC materials force candidates to write night exams. The smooth conduct of the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate examination was disrupted. I wonder why they put smooth there. In several states, following the late arrival of examination materials, forcing thousands of candidates to sit papers late into the evening. Findings by this medium revealed that candidates in parts of Oyo, Lagos, and Osun states were compelled to write examinations under poor lighting conditions on Wednesday and Thursday, as question papers and answer booklets arrived several hours behind schedule. The situation was particularly pronounced in Ibadan, Iseyin, and Oyo towns in Oyo State, the Lekki axis of Lagos State, and Osogbo in Osun State, where some examination centers reportedly did not receive materials until late in the evening. On Thursday, candidates sitting for agriculture science practical were left waiting for hours after the examination's scheduled commencement time. The first batch of the practical examination was slated for 2 p.m., while the second batch was scheduled for 3:30 p.m. However, as of 8 p.m., some centers in Oyo State had yet to commence the examination. A similar scenario was recorded on Wednesday, when candidates sitting for general mathematics objective reportedly began writing as late as 6:30 p.m. Ejo, someone that has read over the night, waiting to download what you have read, and they are bringing question by 6:30. Will you still remember? I'm stopping the news here. So, will you still remember what you have read?
It's not even about remembering what you've read. It's about security. I mean, security of those children.
Those children, considering what is going on now.
Yes.
Then, if I reading down, because it's a long read, reading down from WAEC, they were saying that these measures were put in place because they do not want exam malpractice as it has been happening in the previous years. But again, did they consider the safety of these children?
How can you even write in darkness?
In darkness.
How? How does that happen? How can you write in darkness and then you can see what exactly you're writing? I think, there has to just be a lot of sensitivity around what is going on in the country at the moment. And then you also need to put into cognizance that the security of lives of everybody, they matter a whole lot, especially now that we're having pockets of insecurity across the nation. The fact that you're writing an examination does not mean your life has to be in jeopardy. So our examinations body can do better. If things are not in proper shape, you can postpone.
You can postpone it, yes.
You can postpone and ensure that, the information goes wide so that everybody involved can be aware that the examination has been postponed or time has changed. You can't. So when you put side by side examination malpractice and the safety and security of these children, which one outweighs one another? We need to.
Are we progressing or retrogressing? Which one? In 2026.
We just need to be sensitive. We need to be proactive. If the examinations had not been written,
nothing goes spoil.
Nothing will happen. It is just a matter of letting them know that the examinations would happen later on a particular day and everybody would come and do it. It is not cast in stone that it must be written that day when you cannot guarantee proper safety and even proper lighting for the children to write their examinations. So we need to do better really when it comes to things like this, because we cannot continue to put the lives of other people in jeopardy over things that we have control over. Because this one we had control over it. It's not a matter of we did not have control over this particular situation. All right, let's go to the X platform this morning and take a look at one of the many trending stories there on the platform yesterday. This particular story is trending, and it was actually broken by the presidential spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, where he said this particular Nigerian who made an alarming post, about a voice audio about Mr. President had been arrested in Benin, and that is actually just trending. But as much as this is trending, remember Very Dark Man had also spoken about this, where even the presidency said he should be probed or investigated. I don't have a problem with the police arresting this particular individual if indeed he has answers to, if he has questions to answer. My worry is this. Why was this announced by the presidential spokesman? I felt it should have been done by the police. If the police had arrested this individual, it should have been the police that would say, we have this person in custody. There are some things that, you see and you shudder and you wonder what exactly is going on. And again, you look at the current situation, in the country, and then you ask, are some things more important than certain things? If this speed of light can be deployed to arrest this person, can't we use the same speed of light
energy
to also look at other things that affect the generality of Nigerians, and not particularly because it is Mr. President or an elected official that is involved? Just saying.
But looking at it again, I think there's an update now, because again, I saw this post now, a tech expert who said he did that investigation has come out to also clear Dennis and say that he is not the one that did it. And so he was also questioning Bayo Onanuga why the boy should have been arrested, why he was arrested, rather. That they should have come to him first, since he was the originator of the investigation, to ask questions and get clarity before going to arrest
Dennis.
Well,
Dennis will not have, he would have to clear himself. And if not found guilty, I'm sure Dennis should be left off the hook. Yeah. And if this particular person is saying that I should actually be the one that you should be questioning, he can also help Dennis.
Oh yeah, he said he was going to get lawyers
going to the police station,
go to Abuja
and do the needful. But it's trending on the X platform this morning. You can take a further read on why that is trending. Okay, we will take a quick break. When the conversation returns, part one of the conversation will be here this morning. And of course, like we said, it's a Friday, and we will just temper the sister, just bring everything down, tone it down. And, we hold our destiny in our hands, and we deserve to be happy against all odds. That is not to say that we're not sensitive of what is going on in the country. But again, we just need to continue to live and continue to be hopeful of better days ahead. So this morning, we'll be chatting with Mide Coker. Who is Mide Coker? What does Mide Coker do? And how can we, all stay happy this morning with Mide Coker? This conversation is after the break.